When Aaliyah dies, I was with Barry when Aaliyah died for a wrongful death. He got paid $90 million for her death. Am I supposed to say that on TV? Sue me. I ain't got nothing. So I was with him on the negotiations.
Aaliyah will forever be remembered as the princess of R&B. At the young age of 22, she had made a significant impact in the hip-hop community and had everything going for her. From topping Billboard charts to receiving Grammy nominations and appearing in different movies, the Brooklyn-born singer was simply sensational, and the future seemed so bright. But at the peak of her career, she tragically died in a plane crash on August 25, 2001. Following this unfortunate incident, several dark details began to emerge as they seemed to suggest that her death had been planned by the very individuals she surrounded herself with. But what exactly are these details, and is there any truth to them? Stick with me and let's find out together. On August 22, 2001, Aaliyah and her crew were in the city of Miami shooting underwater scenes for what would be her last music video. The music video was for her single titled Rock the Boat. A month before that, she had released her third and self-titled album, which charted at number 2 on the US Billboard 200. Things were moving pretty fast, and Aaliyah herself wasn't slowing down. To direct the music video for her Rock the Boat single, she employed the help of ace video director Hype Williams because at the time, he was someone with a good track record and had been involved in directing music videos of top artists such as Busta Rhymes and LL Cool J, just to mention a few. After Aaliyah was done shooting in Miami, she and her crew got on a plane and flew to the Abaco Islands in the Bahamas to finish up the remaining part of the video. Rockefeller Records co-founder Damon Dash, whom she had been in a romantic relationship with at the time, had objected to her traveling to the island. The whole arrangement did not sit well with him.
But what I was really more tight about was that I had heard that Lenny Kravitz had offered her a jet and that Hype had took the jet. So that's what really pissed me off about the situation when I heard about it. When she actually was saw the plane, she we had the Blackberries, and she said, "I don't like this plane." And I was like, "Well, don't get on it."
Before the evening of August 25th, Aaliyah was done shooting her part of the video. She had finished a day earlier than expected and decided to go home back to Miami as soon as possible. At the airport, she boarded a small twin-engine Cessna 402B at around 6:50 p.m., along with crew members who numbered up to 7, and were carrying with them heavy filming equipment and other baggage. The plane, which was piloted by Luis Morales, was clearly overloaded, but despite this, it sped up down the runway and took off. A few seconds later, it crashed into a marsh just past the edge of the runway. Immediately after the crash occurred, the plane also erupted into flames. All the passengers on board lost their lives. Aaliyah was found still wrapped to her seat, 20 feet away from the wreckage. An autopsy that was conducted later revealed that she had died after suffering severe burns and major head trauma. In addition to this, she experienced extreme shock which damaged her heart. An investigation was quickly launched to understand the reason why the plane had crashed, and authorities discovered that it had exceeded its maximum weight limit by several hundred pounds. In addition to this, the weight was not evenly distributed, and this had made the plane hard to control once it took flight. Lewis, who flew the plane, was also found to be at fault. In addition to faking his license and not getting approval to fly the plane in the first place, he had also gotten probation for crack cocaine possession only 12 days before the crash occurred. An autopsy that was performed on his body after the fatal incident also revealed that there were traces of cocaine and alcohol in his system. Following Aaliyah's death, the narrative that spread like wildfire was that she and her team had been eager to return to Miami, so she had insisted on getting on the small plane. When this got out, people felt that this was strange because Aaliyah had a general fear of flying.
I found Leah. As a matter of fact, Barry Hankerson, my manager, who's her uncle, told me to go up to Detroit and hear her sing. Once I got up to Detroit, I didn't have to hear her sing because she was glowing. I knew she had it. As soon as she started singing, that verified it. And from there, we became here, and everything is all good.
However, many would continue to believe this until the account of an eyewitness as well as Aaliyah's boyfriend Dash helped shed more light on the situation. The eyewitness was a man by the name of Kingsley Russell, and he had been at the airport on the evening of the crash. That day, he was working as a baggage carrier for Aaliyah. His mother had also been the singer's driver during the time she spent on the Abaco Islands in the Bahamas. According to what Kingsley revealed, the plane that was to take Aaliyah to Miami had been late in arriving, and when it finally did, she had refused to get in due to its small size.
And that's what I've been saying. They killed her.
This was later confirmed by Dash, who said he had gotten a text message from Aaliyah just moments before the crash. In the message, she had expressed her concerns about how small the plane was.
Moral challenge and him choosing one way. I knew morally we weren't the same. So to me, Rockefeller was defunct. It was over. I couldn't fuck with it. It was something that to me was just like, not to say unforgivable, but I couldn't understand it. You know what I'm saying? And then I didn't understand how people didn't, I thought, well, the people aren't gonna have that. But nobody said nothing.
Standing by, watching it, and just not saying anything.
Meanwhile, members of the singer's team began to engage Lewis, the pilot, in an argument. The reason for this was because he explained to them that the plane would not be able to carry 8 passengers as well as all the luggage they had with them. But despite these concerns, Aaliyah's team remained adamant and tried to convince the pilot to fly them. Aaliyah, on the other hand, moved away from their midst and got inside a taxi van that had conveyed them to the airport. She complained that she had a headache and needed to take a quick nap. A short while later, a team member of Aaliyah came to check up on her, and during the conversation they had, she maintained that she was not getting on the plane. Russell then claimed that someone handed Aaliyah a pill suspected to be a sedative. She immediately fell into a deep sleep after taking it. In the end, her crew members were able to convince the pilot to fly them. The sleeping Aaliyah was then carried from the taxi into the plane. They took her out of the van. She didn't even know she was getting boarded on a plane. She went on the airplane asleep, Russell had said. During an interview several years after the crash, Dash blamed Hype Williams for Aaliyah's untimely death. According to what he revealed, the small Cessna 402B was not the original plane they had been intended to convey Aaliyah and her crew out to the island. The singer, Lenny Kravitz, had offered her his private plane, but Hype Williams had made use of it instead. The plane was then supposed to return for Aaliyah and her crew the following day, which was August 26, 2021. But as it turned out, the singer's crew opted to take the small Cessna 402B instead of waiting. Dash revealed that he was upset when he found out about all this and even confronted Hype Williams. Well, after all of these revelations got out, many felt that Aaliyah's death was a very avoidable one, but the decision made by the people surrounding her led to the disaster. Some even suggested that all that happened was deliberately orchestrated by people who wanted to end her life.